Hey there. Have you ever thought about what it would be like if just one person made all the rules for an entire country? Well, today we're going to travel back in time to Spain to learn about a leader named Franco who did exactly that. Ready? Let's dive in. Okay, so before we go any further, there's a big word we need to know: dictatorship. So, what does it mean? It's pretty simple, really. It's when one single person has all the power in a country. They get to make all the rules. This word is super important for our story today, so let's remember that.
Right, a new leader for Spain. So, how did it all begin? You might be asking, how does one person even get that much power? Well, let's take a look at how it all got started.
So, this story starts right after a really big war inside Spain. It was a tough time for everyone. And when the war was over, a new leader came along. His name was Francisco Franco, and he took complete control of the country. And listen to this: Franco didn't just become a leader, he became the only leader. He gave himself all the important jobs. He was the head of state, which is kind of like being the president. He was also the head of government, so he ran everything day to day. And on top of that, he gave himself a special name, Caudillo, which just means the leader in Spanish. So yeah, basically, he took all the top jobs for himself. Now, how did Franco stay in power for so long? We're talking almost 40 years. Well, he didn't do it all by himself. Think of it like a chair with three strong legs holding it up. Franco's power was held up by three big, powerful groups in Spain. Okay, so his first big support group was the military. Franco was a general, so the army was on his side. That meant he had all the soldiers and weapons. The second group was the Catholic Church. The church was very, very important in Spain, and it told people that Franco was a good leader. And the third group was a political group called the Phalange. Their job was to make sure everyone followed Franco's rules. So with these three big groups helping him, he was able to stay in charge for a very long time. All right, so we know how he stayed in charge. But what was it really like for regular people living in Spain back then? Well, it's a story of two very different times. Some were good and some were really bad. You see, life under Franco changed a lot over the years. At the beginning, in the 1940s and 1950s, things were super tough. People even called it the years of hunger because there wasn't enough food. But then, when the 1960s came around, things started to get better. The economy, all the money and jobs in the country, began to grow. And for a lot of people, life got a little bit easier. So, Franco was the leader for almost 40 years. Wow, that's a long time, right? But, nothing can last forever, so let's talk about his final years and how it all came to an end. By the time the 1970s rolled around, Franco was an old man. He was also getting sick, and he just wasn't as strong as he used to be. And then two really big things happened that showed the end was near. First, in 1973, the man Franco had chosen to be the next leader, Carrero Blanco, was killed. This was a huge shock for everyone. Then, just 2 years later, in 1975, Franco himself died. And just like that, his long time as leader was over. Okay, so Franco was gone. This meant a new beginning for Spain. For the first time in almost 40 years, nobody knew what was going to happen. The big question everyone was asking was, who will be the leader now? And the answer came pretty fast. The new leader wasn't going to be another dictator. Instead, Spain got a king. His name was Juan Carlos. This was the start of a whole new chapter for Spain, as the country started to become a democracy again. And that leaves us with one last big question to think about. We learned that a dictator has all the power. So what changes when a country gets a king instead? What's the difference? It's a really interesting thing to think about. Thanks so much for joining me today.